and surrounding counties. Through its programs, Journey into Womanhood Girls Mentoring, Life Skills for Teens, and Parenting Education Coaching. To get involved with programs, volunteer, or donate, visit www.empowermentresourcesinc.org. Follow us on social media, facebook.com/empowerment.resources and instagram.com/empowermentjax.
Oh, that spin class was brutal. Well, you can try using the Buick's massaging seat. Oh, yeah, that's nice.
Can I use Apple CarPlay to put some music on?
Sure, it's wireless.
Pick something we all like. Okay, hold on. What's your Buick's Wi-Fi password?
Buick Envision 2021.
Oh, you should pick something stronger. That's really predictable.
That's a really tight spot. Don't worry, I used to hate parallel parking.
Me too.
Hey.
Really outdid yourself.
Yes, we did.
The all-new Buick Envision, an SUV built around you, all of you.
This is Carlos Brown, letting you know that we're on the move. You can now catch the Carlos Brown Show beginning this July on the Black College Sports Network each and every Saturday from 11 to 1 Eastern Time. That's 10 to 12 Central Time. Same time, new place. On Facebook at the Carlos Brown Show and Black College Sports Network. Online at www.mybcsn.net and on the BCSN app available on Google Play and the Apple App Store.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
Supermarket sushi, really?
No. Wait, Troy, you work here?
I'm never not working. Like Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology, up to 100% dandruff protection, even between washes.
Never not working, huh?
Oh, Troy, you're such a good teacher.
Yeah, I know. Never not working. Never not working. Never ever not working.
Are you serious?
Never not working. Dandruff protection that's never not working. Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology.
Thank you guys for what you do for HBCU athletics. This is a fantastic avenue for all of us. This is our ESPN, so we love what you guys do. Bryan, AD, Roy, all you guys at BCSN. We really appreciate what it is that you guys do for us.
I'm returning to Clinton Paris, and Tampa's my community. I grew up here, went to school here, and my wife and I make our home here. What makes Tampa special are its people. So when I represent someone injured in my community, it's personal. Call my office and speak to a real lawyer and not some referral service. I will fight the insurance companies to get the settlement that you deserve. At the law office of Clinton Paris, we take the pain out of being hurt.
Itchy, squirmy, scratchy, family not getting clean? Get Charmin Ultra Strong. Go get 'em! It just cleans better. With a diamond weave texture, your family can use less while still getting clean.
Goodbye, itchy squirm.
Hello, cream bottom.
We all go. Why not enjoy the go with Charmin?
For 200 years, Montgomery, Alabama has been making history by people who had the courage to stand up for change. Today, this riverfront city has been reborn, embracing the past and looking forward to the future. From the National Memorial for Peace and Justice to the stage of the Alabama Shakespeare Festival, this is where history was and is made. We are proud to call Montgomery home, and together, we can be the change.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora. as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
Nope. Nope.
Come on, him?
Ooh, I like him.
Quick, the quicker picker-upper. Bounty picks up messes quicker, and each sheet is 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less.
He's an 8.
He's a 9.
Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High-quality cigars plus personal customer service. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge, featuring a meticulous, curated collection of premium cigars. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com. That's www.slowburnwaco.com.
Sugar Chateau Desserts is a specialty bakery located in the Charlotte, North Carolina metro area. We will create delicious and one-of-a-kind treats for any occasion. Sugar Chateau is currently shipping cakes in a jar, offering a variety of different flavors in a single-serve container that can help you celebrate in accordance with social distancing. Place your orders today by calling 803-526-7895 or visiting sugarchateaudesserts.com.
Maureen is saving big holiday shopping at Amazon, so now she's free to become Maureen the Merrier. Food is her love language, and she really loves her grandson. Like, really loves.
Since 2002, Empowerment Resources, Inc., a nonprofit organization, has empowered more than 1,500 youth and adults in Duval and surrounding counties through its programs Journey into Womanhood, Girls Mentoring, Life Skills for Teens, and Parenting Education Coaching. To get involved with programs, volunteer, or donate, visit www.empowermentresourcesinc.org. Follow us on social media, facebook.com/empowerment.resources and instagram.com/empowermentJAX.
Evening. Welcome to another live edition of the BCSN SportsWrap. It's Brian Fulford here, and as you can see, I'm waiting on my co-host, Drew to pop in any moment. That's what the black box is for. So he will just magically appear thanks to the power of this internet television show that we do here on the Black College Sports Network. We got a lot of good stuff to talk about. A lot of different angles and discussions as the Celebration Bowl has ended, which signals the end of the Black college football season. But it only begins the debate, man. And you know, I will say this as a sort of an opening monologue here. That is what makes college football great. It's the debates. You know, I remember as a young kid learning about college football from my father as he collected many of Sports Illustrated and Sporting News magazines, and my love of sports came from him. He would constantly tell me stories about teams that were screwed over, as he would like to say, for championships because pollsters and people who voted didn't like this coach and didn't like that school and so on and so forth. You know, so it should come as no shock to anybody that even in an era when we have quote unquote mechanisms to create playoff games, to create championships, to crown champions, that we still end up with controversies. You know, in major college football, and we're talking primarily Division I FBS, which is originally 1A. Look, controversy's been happening for years. There are plenty of schools who have crowned or claimed national championships that you maybe would call a co-national championship, or champions who have called themselves champions and maybe they lost 5 or 6 games in a season. We've had teams who've gone undefeated and maybe been recognized by only 1 or 2 people. So it really, there's a deep history in college football of controversy surrounding the championships. Now, 1978, I believe it was 78, the lower level Division 1 AA at the time, and I don't know when Division 2 and 3 started, but in football, they decided to have playoffs, and they created a playoff system in the 1AA era. And of course, we know that Florida A&M, Jackson State were 2 of the first 4 schools in, and we know that Florida A&M was crowned the very first 1AA national champion on the field. And that still exists to this day in FCS, Division 2, Division 3. But again, Division 1 football and even HBCU football still to this day has never quite got it right. And it's honestly a little hard, even in HBCU football, because we have schools across so many levels. We have schools that are in the FCS. We have schools in Division 2. We have schools in the NAIA. So just take that into consideration, that the history of football, the history of Black college football is deeply rooted in the perception of others as to whether your team, your favorite team, is the best. Now, truly, if, the rare instances where you have a team go undefeated, then what? You have an opportunity to say, we have an undisputed national champion. And you can count probably on maybe 2 hands the number of times that has actually happened. So don't freak out. Don't panic over the next 24, 48 hours as different organizations who cover Black college football name various champions, national champions, HBCU national champions. I would even say the spring season was even interesting enough because you had an Alabama A&M team that I don't know if they had more wins than, say, Southern University that finished 5-1. But hey, everybody Everybody has a mechanism. Everybody has a system. You're going to hear polls, rankings. Make sure you know the difference. And like I heard Doc said, Dr. Kenyatta Cavill early this morning, make sure whichever route you go, and this is to all media entities, ourselves included at the Black College Sports Network, make sure that you can sort of defend your stance. Because in the end,
I
that's
actually
all.
said that too, Brian.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, Drew. Yes. So, that's all you have. So I'm done with my little opening monologue. Welcome, AD Drew. How you doing? It's good to see you, my man. Back from Atlanta. Good to see you made it safely back to your home studio. What's good, brother?
Hey, doing all right, my brother. My computer acted a little retarded over here. That's why I was a little late to get in. I guess that's not a good use anymore. You and I in the education field, so we're not supposed to use words like that and stupid and stuff like that. It's having a malfunction. So hopefully I can get through this. Maybe I can fix it when we go into our first break.
Well, it's all the number crunching and all the different computations that you have been doing on that end, and so yeah, it might be a little upset with you. Who knows?
Maybe my memory's low in the thing. I don't know.
Right. Well, look, hey, your memory is not bad. It may be low, but it's not bad. So that's a good thing.
I'm talking about the computer, not mine.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Well, you said your memory. So I was just going there with the role. Hey, if you're watching us on YouTube, MyJBN1, we want to thank you. Make sure you are subscribed to our YouTube channel. Go ahead and give us a thumbs up over there. If you're watching us on Facebook, do the same. Go ahead and share this episode because we will stir it up and it'll be a good show. We promise you. A lot to talk about. A lot of things to debate on. And then if you're watching us on our app, we appreciate you downloading the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. If you have not, go over to your Google and Apple Play Store. Download the JBN app by just searching My JBN or My BCSN. That way, any of the shows you have firsthand access to, and pretty much everything that we do on the Jericho Broadcast Networks, because we have plenty of shows. Even non-sports shows that you have access to. And make sure you're following us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at MyBCSN1. That's the number 1. All right, Drew, let's start with the Celebration Bowl. South Carolina State wins the Celebration Bowl. You were there along with a host of other of our media brethren, friends, fellow members of the BCSN, other shows, other people, a lot of people doing great things covering HBCU. Let's go off the field for a second. What was one of the things that you kind of took away, maybe that impressed you or kind of caught your eye from the game or from the weekend?
Well, for me, it started outside of the game. It was just the atmosphere there in Atlanta, Georgia. And first of all, it was a Black media family reunion. Let's start off right there. The who's who of Black media was there. Saw a couple of people who I've looked up to from the 4-letter network. Like Bill Roden was there with the Undefeated.
Okay.
Obviously people from the Black College Sports Network. Dr. Kenyatta Cavill was there. Michael Washington. Charles Bishop. I know Neely was in the house. Did not bump into Neely at any point in time during the weekend. I scheduled.
He was probably down on the field.
Our paths did not cross. I actually only saw Charles at pass. Charles never saw me. I saw Charles, but he never saw me. Gotcha. So it was one of those things. Jamie Walker, BJ, Brandon BJ Jones. I think that pretty much takes care of all of our networks and friends of the network who were there. Bumped into our old SID, Alvin Hollins. He was doing the internal play-by-play for the Celebration Bowl. He was the voice in the press box.
Nice.
Who else? Keisha Kelly. Yes, Hall of Famer Alvin Hollins. Keisha Kelly was there. Talked to her for a few minutes, and even met a couple of other people who, who I follow or who followed us, and had conversations. And the interesting thing was when you, and I'm really trying to think. We know this was a game that pitted Jackson State against South Carolina State, but some of the people in other gear that I saw Tuskegee. I saw FAMU. And yes, I walked up to somebody who just happened to have orange and green on. Did not know them from a can of paper. We had a conversation just because they had on orange and green. And you missed them, but they were there when I was coming. They were leaving, so they left before you got there. I saw Norfolk State. I saw A&T. I saw some Alcorn people. I saw some Prairie View people. What other schools did I see? I saw a Howard person that somebody in some Howard gear. Alabama State gear was in the house. So
I think I think everyone should represent. I think you should represent your school,
and they did.
If you're not,
everybody
either
represented their school, their fraternity, their sorority. Obviously we saw everybody from the Divine Nine there. We saw Persian Rifles. I mean, Persian Angels. You name it. You saw every gear that you could see related to HBCU somewhere in that vicinity.
Yeah,
that's what stuck out to me more than anything else, Brian.
Well, I think as we'll talk about this a little bit later, this is turning into the type of event that is hard to. I have never been to a CIAA tournament. I hate to admit that.
That's on the bucket list.
It's on the bucket list, but I always hear the stories when people have gone to the CIAA about the experience of the tournament. The Celebration Bowl is becoming that event, that must-go-to event. And it's in the perfect city, perfect location, usually great weather.
It's indoors, Brian. Long as you can get to the event. Long as it's not like 2019 when it was cold and raining.
But still, even that, it's indoors. I mean, the game is indoors. So even if the weather is kind of cool or wet outside, guess what? It's indoors. So,
yes,
it is what it is. So I think that there's a lot of positives for this game. And
there were 48,000 other people inside who thought it was positive. I don't know how many people were still left outside, but we know there were 48,000 inside.
Right. We'll talk a little bit about the attendance. Of course, 48,653 was in the house. We'll talk a little bit about that a little bit later in the show and how that compares with some other bowls. But I think what I'm also looking forward to seeing is what the TV ratings look like, and we can kind of hint and talk about that. I know those will come out a little bit later, but let's get into the game and just a couple thoughts that I had as I reflect back on the season and this game, South Carolina State, Jackson State. Jackson State closed at a 10.5-point favorite. South Carolina State was about plus 320, plus 350 on the money line. So if you would have put $100 down on South Carolina State, you would have won about 320, 350 after this contest. That's essentially what that means. I don't know if so far this would have to go down as the biggest upset of Celebration Bowl. I can't imagine that any of the other contests, given the fact that A&T was probably the favorite in the three-peat, the 3 years they won.
You think A&T was the favorite in the first one?
The very first one, they might not have been the favorite in the very first one.
I know. I definitely know they would have been 2 and 3.
Yeah, I have to go back and look because that first one I think was a year after Alcorn had won the. Well, they obviously had won the SWAC.
That was Grambling. Was it that Grambling? In that
no,
one?
Alcorn and North Carolina A&T were in the first one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then
And
Grambling was in the next two.
Grambling was in the next one against North Carolina Central. And then Celebration Bowl 3, 4, and 5 was A&T, North Carolina A&T, and I think did they play? Yeah, they may have played. It escapes me. They played Grambling in
twice. They played Grambling back to back. Grambling was there back to back.
Okay, so then they beat Grambling in Celebration Bowl 3.
Right.
So I'm pretty
and
sure
then
that's
4 and 5 are Alcorn.
Yeah, 4 and 5 was Alcorn. They beat Alcorn in those. So, but yeah, when you look at it and say there's only really have been 4 teams up to this year that have been in the Celebration Bowl. Only 4 teams: A&T, Central, Grambling, and Alcorn. That's it. So it was good to see 2 fresh teams. And the one takeaway I had, remember at the beginning of the year we were looking at the schedules, and the MEAC obviously had that weird schedule going on where they had 5 games, conference games, but the 6 non-conference, and 4 of South Carolina Central's non-conference games were against South Carolina State. Right? You had 3 games against SWAC teams, and then you had A&T, an old rival. And I kind of said, watch for South Carolina. I felt like South Carolina State could be a very dangerous player in the whole Black College National Championship discussion at the end of the year. Now, I was basing that on wins during the regular season and possibly winning the MEAC. Well, they won the MEAC. They didn't do very well in the preseason, although they did beat Bethune. I think that was the only game they did win of the 3. But they lost a close game to A&M. Of course, they got beat by 23 to FAMU. They got really blown out in that game. And then the other one, obviously, then they did the blowing out. Then they blew out Bethune.
They did not blow out Bethune, Brian.
Okay.
Remember
That's right.
Made that fourth quarter run.
Right.
It was a 7-point game.
They should have blown out Bethune. Yeah, you're right. They should have blown out Bethune. So to come into this contest, and I think we were so caught up in Jackson State because, look, the week that Jackson State had was probably the best week, one of the best weeks ever. I mean, the Q rating for Jackson State the past week was ridiculous, off the charts. So all that anybody was talking about was Jackson State. Jackson State. You know, the fact that the MEAC had been off for about 4 weeks. South Carolina State, though, had won 5 of their last 6 games. That one little blip against A&T, you know, if they had won that game against A&T, were coming into this contest winners of 6 in a row, I really think the narrative going into the game and the line might have been entirely different, if not a lot smaller. Do you agree with that?
I definitely agree with that. And one other thing, you talk about some of the things surrounding this game, and this is another off the field. You do realize that for 3 hours, either Celebration Bowl, Jackson State, or South Carolina State was the #1 trending topic on Twitter for a 3-hour period yesterday. And if you take a 6-hour period, one of those 3, South Carolina State, Celebration Bowl, or Jackson State, was in the top 10 on Twitter for a 6-hour period.
Mm-hmm.
And
awesome.
As a matter of fact, Deion Sanders snuck in there for a while, and I can't remember, but during 1 hour, 5 of the top 10 topics on Twitter were revolved around the Celebration Bowl, with either the SWAC, the MEAC, Coach Prime, Jackson State, South Carolina State, or the Celebration Bowl. They took up 5 of the top 10 slots during 1 hour of the day yesterday. So that shows the impact of the Celebration Bowl. We do not get that impact in the playoffs. We get that impact in this specific event.
Yeah, no doubt. It's hard to, it's hard. Again, at some point, we will have to come to a place in our conversation towards the end of the year and have to find a way to have the best of both worlds, I think. I think that's possible. I think that's possible to have the best of both worlds. But it definitely, financially, from a marketing perspective, the Celebration Bowl was awesome. And when we come back from the break, I want to talk about Buddy Pugh, because just seeing that little video there, the tear in the eye, man. His journey to this game and this moment is truly spectacular, and really should not be underscored, because he is one of the coaching GOATs in Black college football and in the MEAC. And I thought it was sort of fitting the way this season ended for him and the Bulldogs. We're going to step away and take a short break. Stay with us. You're watching the BCSN SportsWrap with Bryan and Drew. We'll be back in just a moment.
Oh, that spin class was brutal. Well, you can try using the Buick's massaging seat.
Ooh, yeah, that's nice.
Can I use Apple CarPlay to put some music on?
Sure, it's wireless.
Pick something we all like. Okay, hold on. What's your Buick's Wi-Fi password?
Buick Envision 2021.
Oh, you should pick something stronger. That's really predictable. That's a really tight spot. Don't worry.
I used to hate parallel parking.
Me too.
Hey.
Really outdid yourself.
Yes, we did.
The all-new Buick Envision, an SUV built around you, all of you.
This is Carlos Brown, letting you know that we're on the move. You can now catch the Carlos Brown Show beginning this July on the Black College Sports Network each and every Saturday from 11 to 1 Eastern Time. That's 10 to 12 Central Time. Same time, new place. On Facebook at the Carlos Brown Show and Black College Sports Network. Online at www.mybcsn.net, and on the BCSN app, available on Google Play and the Apple App Store.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
Supermarket sushi, really?
No. Wait, Troy, you work here?
I'm never not working. Like Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology, up to 100% dandruff protection, even between washes.
Never not working, huh?
Oh, Troy, you're such a good teacher.
Yeah, I know. Never not working. Never not working. Never, ever not working.
Are you serious?
Never not working. Dandruff protection that's never not working. Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology.
Thank you guys for what you do for HBCU athletics. This is a fantastic avenue for all of us. This is our ESPN, so we love what you guys do. Bryan, AD, Roy, all you guys at BCSN. We really appreciate what it is that you guys do for us.
I'm attorney Clinton Paris, and Tampa's my community. I grew up here, went to school here, and my wife and I make our home here. What makes Tampa special are its people. So when I represent someone injured in my community, it's personal. Call my office and speak to a real lawyer and not some referral service. I will fight the insurance companies to get the settlement that you deserve. At the law office of Clinton Paris, we take the pain out of being hurt.
Itchy, squirmy, scratchy, family not getting clean? Get Charmin Ultra Strong. Go get 'em! It just cleans better. With a diamond weave texture, your family can use less while still getting clean.
Goodbye, itchy squirm. Hello, cream bottom.
We all go. Why not enjoy the go with Charmin?
For 200 years, Montgomery, Alabama has been making history by people who had the courage to stand up for change. Today, this riverfront city has been reborn, embracing the past and looking forward to the future. From the National Memorial for Peace and Justice to the stage of the Alabama Shakespeare Festival, This is where history was and is made. We are proud to call Montgomery home, and together, we can be the change.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
All right, welcome back to the BCSN SportsWrap. Brian Wolford here. AD Drew will be joining me in just a moment. Again, Celebration Bowl 2021 goes again to the MEAC. And I think now the MEAC sits at 5 wins in the 6 games. Five wins in 6 games. And what I think, and I think also, I think I read a stat in the MEAC SWAC Challenge, the MEAC is 11-4, some number like that. So the MEAC has really owned and dominated the series. Even though the SWAC may have the marketing and the general interest, might have the band culture, on the football field, it has really been dominated by the MEAC. And, you know, look, I remember one of those things that good friend Charles Bishop was worried about going into the contest. Of course, co-host of the pregame show, which those guys have been dug in deep with Jackson State football program all year. And they've also, of course, he's also a co-host with Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. But in the trenches is where the MEAC schools have dominated. And so when you look at the statistics in this ball game and you look up and see that South Carolina State as a team ran the ball for 102 net yards compared on 37 attempts compared to Jackson State, 19 net yards on 29 attempts. I mean, literally, that's less than a yard a carry. I mean, that had to be the lowest output all year for Jackson State rushing the ball. I mean, we knew that was the weakness of the Jackson State offense. We knew that the running game was not their forte, but to really rush for an average of less than a yard is amazing. And look, you have to take that with a bit of you have to understand how that works out, because a lot of that came, let's see, they actually technically had 74 yards gained, but lost 22 of that, or excuse me, had 55 yards in losses, 44 of those against Shedeur Sanders as the quarterback. So, you know, the fact that, you know, really they gained 74 yards, but they lost 44, that you take that with a bit of a, you know, it is what it is. But Dante Anthony, Kendrell Flowers leading the rushing attack for South Carolina State, but it's the passing. It really is the opportunities that they took advantage of when Jackson State made mistakes. All year, Jackson State has made people pay for mistakes, and they've had these big quarters. And that was one of the things I thought, you know, look, I'm one of those people that I predicted Jackson State to win. Actually, it's funny, the final score is almost what I predicted, but just the other way. I thought Jackson State would kind of win maybe like 31-17 or something like that. But I also said if South Carolina State could avoid the big quarter and not give Jackson State that big quarter, they could stay in this ball game. And sure enough, it was South Carolina State who had the big quarter. They had after giving up the opening touchdown, or not the opening drive touchdown, but a touchdown in the first quarter, they came back and they scored off of a turnover. Really only had to go 3 plays and 5 yards to tie the ball game up. Then had an opportunity for a 26-yard field goal towards the end of the second quarter. They had a 10-7 lead, and that's the point at halftime that I thought, okay, this is going to be a game. This Jackson State needs to answer in the third quarter, or they're going to be in trouble. And what do you have? You have 2 scores in the third quarter, where South Carolina State only had to go 16 yards in 2 plays and 19 yards in 6 plays. I mean, literally, they scored 14 points in less than 4 minutes of playing time. Ball game. Third quarter ball game. I mean, it really was. And the nail in the coffin was the final drive. That was 9 plays, 93 yards. That took 6 minutes and 18 seconds. And, Corey Fields did not look great early, the quarterback for South Carolina State. But if any of you guys remember Corey Fields from the game against Alabama A&M, he looked pretty impressive. I mean, he was throwing toe-to-toe with Aqeel Glass in that contest. And so we just kept waiting to see, okay, Corey Fields is not going to continue to be this bad. I mean, he was really bad in the first half. I mean, let's just keep it real. And it did. Thankfully for him, it got better. I mean, his receivers dominated, which, Jackson State's DBs had gotten a lot of press for, their rankings and where they came from before they came to Jackson State. But those, if you paid attention, Shaquan Davis, who was the offensive MVP, 5 catches, 95 yards, 3 touchdowns, he was going to be a difference maker. And so, that just turned out to be the difference in the ball game. Fields threw 4 touchdowns, only threw 1 interception. Shedeur Sanders, I hate to say it, looked like a freshman. It is what it is. I thought I would have liked to have seen Jackson State run him more, maybe do some read option things. But again, that's not who Shedeur Sanders is. Shedeur Sanders is a pocket quarterback. So his ability to run is just a product of things breaking down. But, he didn't seem to pick up the blitz very well. He was pressured. Give credit to South Carolina State and their front. I think they had 8 quarterback hurries in the entire ball game. Jablonski Green had 3 of them. Patrick Godbolt had 3. BJ Davis up front, 9 tackles, 8 of them solo. It was just a really strong defensive performance by South Carolina State. And those of us who've been in the MEAC watching South Carolina State, we saw buddy ball, as my good friend Kofi Hemingway likes to call it. We saw buddy ball.
Hey,
did I
Bryan.
sum that up right, Drew?
Yes, you did. And you talked about those 8 quarterback hurries. Let's really break that number down, Bryan. Shedeur was 16 of 36 with 2 INTs. That's 20 incompletions, correct?
Yep.
Of those 20 incompletions, 8 quarterback hurries, 6 pass breakups, and 2 picks. That accounts for 16 of your 20 incompletions. Think about that. Let's put that into perspective. Talk about that defense that South Carolina State played. And in addition to that, you had, how many sacks did they have?
They only had 3 of
3 sacks. They had 3 sacks. That's 3 additional. Huh?
I said timely sacks.
Yeah, that's 3 additional dropbacks that were not good for Jackson State. And let's add a 4th one in there. The fumble. He did have a fumble also. So that's 24 times that Shedeur dropped back that things did not go good for Jackson State. 24 of the 40 times Shedeur dropped back, things did not go good for for Jackson State. And let's look at some of these 14 rushes that Shedeur had. So I'm going to say about half of those came on quarterback hurries that statistically are not hurries. Those were not designed runs from Shedeur. That was him getting out the pocket and making the best of the play that he had. So they put pressure on Shedeur. They confused Shedeur. That's the best way to put it. They confused Shedeur. And what it looked like is, let's think about it. Jackson State had done to them what they do to everyone else. And Buddy Pugh said it in the post-game presser. He played Jackson State's ball better than Jackson State plays that brand of ball. Let's take this one step further. The definition of the greatest all-time shutdown corner, when you go to Webster's dictionary, for those of you all who don't know what a dictionary is, that's that big book that has all these words with meanings in it. You know, we Google everything now, so I got to educate Merriam-Webster dictionary. So I got to do some education. But if you look up shutdown corner in the dictionary, you would see a picture of one Deion Sanders, the ultimate shutdown corner. What does a shutdown corner allow you to do? It allows you to play a different type of defense than people are used to seeing.
Yep. Yeah. No, I mean, that's what it does. That's what it does. So, you know, did I lose you there, Drew? Yeah, I think I lost Drew. So he was making a great point there, and then he kind of froze up on me. So let me bring this over to Buddy Pugh, because I just want to make, in his 20th year, Coach Pugh, of course, the all-time winningest coach in South Carolina State history. They've won in his time there 8 MEAC championships in his time as the head coach. The last time they won a national championship, 2009. You know, as you might presume, ABC Celebration Bowl, ESPN events, you know, awarded them the HBCU National Championship as a result of the win. They even tweeted it out that look, they you know, I mean, they rightfully so, I guess, you know, they won the Celebration Bowl. Yeah, no, that's all right. I was just talking about Buddy Pugh here for a second, and just some of the history of South Carolina State for a second there.
But let me get back to my Deion Sanders point. Deion Sanders.
Okay. You were, I thought you had finished your point, but go ahead.
I was just starting.
You're in the middle of it? Okay.
Yeah, a Deion Sanders on the field allowed you to play one side of the field, one-on-one, or the top receiver on one side of the field, lock him down one-on-one, and to go zone throughout the rest of the coverage. Well, his name's not Deion Sanders. He may be 2/3 as good as Deion Sanders, which may be why he wears 2/3 of the number. That's number 14, Jacoby Durant. And Jacoby Durant pretty much was isolated one-on-one against either Warren Newman or one of the other Jackson State receivers, Corbin, Weidman, whichever one was the outside receiver. Jacoby Durant took him primarily throughout the day. That allowed the other players, the rest of the secondary, to go zone in those areas. You wonder why Shedeur was back there with 5 seconds and couldn't figure out who to throw the ball to? That is exactly why he was back there for so long without figuring out who to throw the ball to. Then, all of a sudden, Jackson State's line, which we have said has been an issue throughout the season, finally started to wear down. And It went from 5 seconds to 4 seconds to 3 seconds to let me get the hell up out of here. When Shadul did not have the time that he needed to throw the ball. So though that was the key point that I wanted to bring out with that South Carolina State defense, Brian.
Yeah. A lot of people will praise Coach Pugh for his coaching efforts. We'll look at it and say Coach, we'll say the Jackson State staff or Coach Prime. I don't know. Maybe some people will say they got out coached. I think I heard it the post game press conference. Coach Prime said they just got out. What's the word I want to use? They just got
they got their butt whipped. That's what he came in and said. We just got our butt whipped.
Yeah, they got out toughed out. Yeah. They just, I mean, South Carolina, and you know what? I've seen that South Carolina State do that. I mean, we've seen that in the MEAC. They've done that to FAMU for years. So, I mean, we've seen that firsthand. It's just something about South Carolina State. They don't blow you away with the recruiting numbers. They may have guys on there who may have some stars, but it doesn't get a lot of attention. But there's just something about the dudes in South Carolina. I mean, South Carolina is this strange state to me. I'm very unfamiliar with South Carolina State. Well, I say that because I feel like, and I say that because of South Carolina State. There are guys from cities in South Carolina State I've never heard of. I mean, towns, but I just picture that they find dudes like just. I had a good friend told me one time that if you wanted to get tougher, if FAMU ever wanted to get tougher, we need to do what Buddy Pugh does. We need to find our way into South Carolina and just get dudes. I mean, they have guys young men who are just in high schools that they look like where'd they grow this dude from? Where'd this kid come from? Nobody knows. All of a sudden he ends up
some two-way high school in South Carolina.
Yeah. And so I think there is a story there. As much attention as people are giving Jackson State and FAMU and Southern, man, so you looking for a why not us? Somebody go do something on South Carolina State, because there's something in the water in South Carolina, man. And that's why they have been a powerhouse. That's why they have guys who have been in the NFL. They just have dudes, and you don't know where they came from, but you look up and then they come hit your team in the mouth, and I saw in the first quarter a couple of hits, Drew, that I think even RG3 made note. He said, man, that kid from Jackson State just got hit. That's about as hard as you're allowed to hit somebody these days. I mean,
Brian, I'm going to put it into perspective. And you had to be in the media area to understand this. Now, we all know Alvin Holland. We love Alvin Hollins. Hall of Famer, Florida A&M Hall of Famer. Even he lost his professionalism on the hit that you're talking about, the clothesline. And he said, I forgot who the player was, but normally you get the reception complete to so and so tackled by this, the straight professional PA. And Alvin Holland said, and with the WWE takedown, and gave the player's name, and everybody up in there looked like we just lost all our professionalism right there with that comment. So, and I mean, you had to be there, though, Brian. But the people out there may not understand, but you understand what I'm talking about.
I understand, but I know when I'm sitting there watching the replay, and I went, ooh. I mean, look, it's football, it's contact. You see guys get hit all the time. No, it was something just different. Yeah, no, it was just something different about that hit. That hit set a tone in the first quarter, man. I feel like, South Carolina State kind of took it personally. I felt like here's why
they took it personal, Brian.
Well, hold on. I'm gonna go deep. I'm gonna go into the spring. I'm gonna go into what Alabama A&M did to them in the spring. Because Alabama A&M did a lot of talking. They walked into their place and they just manhandled South Carolina State. Look, we know they may not have been, they may not have had a full roster, might not have been healthy, but whatever. But I felt like South Carolina State took it personally. The way those hits were delivered in that ball game, Man, look.
And I'm gonna tell you another reason why it was personal. And I talked to Jacoby Durant after the game. I actually caught him outside of the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. He was with his family, and he gave me a couple of minutes of his time. Matter of fact, myself, BJ, and Doc were walking to my car, and Jacoby Durant gave us a couple of minutes of his time, and he was like, when practice went on, all the media were at Jackson State's practice. No one was at our practice.
Really?
Yes. They had Coach Pugh gave them some free time to explore Atlanta, to do some things. So they were in one of the balls in Atlanta. I didn't ask them which one. And they had their gear on, and people asked them, where you guys from? Why you in town? Blah blah blah. It's like, y'all the team they playing. Let's keep it going.
I wish I would have known. Where was this info when I was looking to? Anyway, go ahead. I needed this kind of info before kickoff. I'm mad at all of you who saw this.
We got this 5 hours after kickoff, because this was about 5 o'clock Eastern time when we got this information. Somebody else asked, were they basketball players? Could not believe they were football players.
Wow.
Yes.
The disrespect was real.
Yes.
The disrespect was real.
The disrespect was real, and he's like, no one knows who we are, and he as a group, they took those things back to to the huddle, to the hotel, as like we got to show we have to represent. And to credit, this was not Jackson State talking trash. This was everybody else talking trash, not giving South Carolina State their just due. It was amazing that we did. As a matter of fact, I'll see if I can send it over to Roy. I'll even show you the picture that I got with Jacoby Durant. Had to get that in before he went to the league.
Yeah. Well, look, I would bet that the fact that they were 6-5 coming into the game also got a few chuckles from people. That's like, oh, that team 6-5. How they gonna handle Jackson State? Jackson State's 11-1. Blah blah blah. I bet some of that even played into it as well. But they just took the respect card. They just took the respect card back. And hashtag respect the MEAC is real. It is definitely real. So look, it brings forth the great debate. Now that it's over, the South Carolina State 7-5, they win the MEAC, unbeaten in the MEAC. They win the Celebration Bowl in a dominating fashion over the SWAC champion. It brings up the debate. Now that the season is over, who is the Black College National Champion? And there are any number of methodologies and things that you can look at that goes into answering that question. I think it'd also be very important to make a difference between polls and rankings. I think for the Black College Sports Network, our champion is based on a ranking, computer-generated ranking. Okay. Now there are polls that will be coming out. I know the HBCU Pro Sports Media, a group which we are a part of, as well as many others, will have a poll. Box to Row will have a poll. Dr. Cavill's Inside
poll
the
comes
HBCU
out Tuesday.
Poll comes out Tuesday. I know Box to Row comes out Monday. They're voters. They're individuals, and they're
Black
going
College
to be.
Sports page will have theirs come out. Did you mention them?
Yes. No, I didn't, but thank you. Yes.
Yes.
So everybody's going to be looking at three teams. Let's keep it real. You've got South Carolina State, who defeated Jackson State. You've got Jackson State, winners of the SWAC, SWAC East, who many think if you, and I heard Doc break this down, and we've talked about this as well. If you broke down the SWAC East, SWAC West, and the MEAC 6, there's 3 groups of 6. Was the SWAC East the best group of 6? I would say it was. And then the argument will be made that Florida A&M, who went to the playoffs, winners of 8 in a row, ranked in the top 25, I think, as high as 22 in the national polls at the end of the regular season. They defeated South Carolina State 30-7. Lost to Jackson State by 1 at the beginning of the season. So how are you going to analyze Jackson State with 11 wins, 2 losses? Florida A&M, 9 wins and 3 losses. South Carolina State, 7 wins and 5 losses. I'm not going to call anybody out, but I read a tweet that I hope I can quickly pull it up. But anyway, the tweet said something to the effect of, that there should be a special. Only one of those 3 teams finished their season with a win, and so that should sort of take precedent over anything else. Which to me,
and that's a fair, valid argument.
I can understand if you make that argument, but again, I will say, in certain circumstances, are you talking about the entire season, or are we talking about a game? Because the Black College National Champion is really crowned to the best team over the course of the season. So how do we analyze that? So here's what I want to do. We're going to take a break, come back, and we begin to talk about the different ways of analyzing that. And I believe, Drew, we're going to reveal the BCSN Division I and under Division I national champions. And then we're even going to open it up, because I know there's going to be some debate. There's going to be some discussion. We're going to open up the phone lines. I think we can take some calls. We want to hear from some of you. Because everybody's got a voice. Everybody doesn't have a vote, though, but everybody has a voice. So, but, it's interesting for debate and discussion. So let's talk about it. On the other side of the break, we get to find out who will be the 2021 Black College National Championship or champions from our perspective. We'll talk about that on the other side. You're watching the BCSN Sports Wrap. We'll be back in just a moment.
Nope.
Come on, him?
Ooh, I like him.
Quick, the quicker picker-upper. Bounty picks up messes quicker, and each sheet is 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less.
He's an 8.
He's a 9.
Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High-quality cigars plus personal customer service. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge, featuring a meticulous, curated collection of premium cigars. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com. That's www.slowburnwaco.com.
Smooth. Another shot.
One enemy remaining.
Sugar Chateau Desserts is a specialty bakery located in the Charlotte, North Carolina metro area. We will create delicious and one-of-a-kind treats for any occasion. Sugar Chateau is currently shipping cakes in a jar, offering a variety of different flavors in a single-serve container that can help you celebrate in accordance with social distancing. Place your orders today by calling 803-526-7895 or visiting sugarchateaudesserts.com.
Maureen is saving big holiday shopping at Amazon, so now she's free to become Maureen the Merrier. Food is her love language, and she really loves her grandson. Like, really loves.
Since 2002, Empowerment Resources, Inc., a nonprofit organization, has empowered more than 1,500 youth and adults in Duval and surrounding counties through its programs Journey into Womanhood, Girls Mentoring, Life Skills for Teens, and parenting education coaching. To get involved with programs, volunteer, or donate, visit www.empowermentresourcesinc.org. Follow us on social media, facebook.com/empowerment.resources and instagram.com/empowermentJAX.
Oh, that spin class was brutal. Well, you can try using the Buick's massaging seat. Ooh, yeah, that's nice.
Can I use Apple CarPlay to put some music on?
Sure, it's wireless.
Pick something we all like. Okay, hold on. What's your Buick's Wi-Fi password?
Buick Envision 2021.
Oh, you should pick something stronger. That's really predictable.
That's a really tight spot. Don't worry, I used to hate parallel parking.
Me too.
Hey.
Really outdid yourself.
Yes, we did.
The all-new Buick Envision, an SUV built around you, all of you.
This is called.
Welcome back to the BCSN Sports Wrap. Brian Fulford, AD Drew here. We are we are part of the Black College Sports Network. Truth tellers, where numbers never lie in our eyes, but people in polls can be manipulated. I guess that's the best way to say it. Thank you for watching us. You guys watching us on YouTube. Make sure you go ahead and hit that like button. Make sure you're following us, the MyJBN1. If you're watching us on Facebook, we appreciate you there. And all of our platforms. Go download the Jericho Broadcast Networks app. Go to your Google or Apple Play Store, MyJBN, MyBCSN. So look, we are probably one of the first that I can think that I've seen outside, of course, ABC and the Celebration Bowl, claiming South Carolina State as the Black College National Champions. You're going to learn the BCSN National Champion in two divisions, because there is a split here between Division I, which consists of 18 schools, and, oh, excuse me, nope, I got that. Is that right? 18? Or is it 21? 21 schools. And division under what we call under D1, which consists of Division II and a few NAIA schools.
And yes, hold up. Yes, Karen Griffin, we're talking polls versus rankings.
Correct. The very, very important point. Polls, meaning there are people, several people voting. Okay. Obviously, rankings more generated based on metrics that are defined. We took in 2019, we took the very unpopular to some stance in naming Florida A&M the Black College National Champion in 2019 based on numbers. They had a better record than North Carolina A&T. They were not play. They had a better conference record. They actually would have won the MEAC. They had the best record in the MEAC. Let me just say that. They defeated A&T head-to-head. But Florida A&M self-imposed a postseason ban. It was not an NCAA ban. So if anyone tells you that the NCAA banned Florida A&M in 2019, that is not correct. Florida A&M tried to take a preemptive stance and decided to ban themselves from postseason play, which a lot of schools do for some reason. I don't know why. Like they think that's going to get them off of some sort of penalty and ease the punishment from the NCAA. I don't think it does.
But Bryan, let's think about it. If they wouldn't have took that ban in 2019, they would have probably got the ban this year. So they were going to lose a playoff or a potential postseason year, no matter what, considering the last 2 seasons that we've seen Florida A&M on the field.
Well, you know what? You know why I say maybe not? Because COVID happened the next year. Now, you can't foresee that. No one foresaw that COVID was going to come the next
It would have
academic
carried
year.
over. They would have carried it over.
But yeah, but see, I don't know, because of some of the things that Florida A&M put in place. I don't know if put it like this. I understand what they did. They took a preemptive. The school, the administration of the university, took that decision based on things. Nobody who was at the university on that team in that athletic office had anything to do with the sanctions that the NCAA drafted in their letter. Okay.
And also, let's think about this. You had a new athletic director coming at that point in time.
Right.
So why not take it now and give him a clean slate? Get this thing out the way so when he comes in, he can do it again instead of coming in behind the 8 ball. So you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. They do.
And also, yeah, exactly. And also, here's what's funny. The MEAC counted wins and losses against Florida A&M in their conference standings because South Carolina State and North Carolina A&T ended up being tied. Both of those schools lost to Florida A&M. Their conference record showed a loss. So even though the MEAC decided not to include Florida A&M in the Celebration Bowl, they definitely counted losses, and it could have made a factor in who went to the Celebration Bowl. A&T went to the Celebration Bowl. South Carolina State actually got screwed out of going to the playoffs with an 8-3 record and a win over an FCS team. Okay. And so, but anyway, all of that said, you know, a Black College National Champion was crowned by us, Black College Sports Network, for a team that did not win the Celebration Bowl. First time that happened. Why? Because the previous years, you had clear 1 versus 2 matchups. You had Alcorn, A&T. You had Grambling, North Carolina Central. You know, you had clear 1 versus 2 or 1 versus 3 matchups. You didn't have to go outside to look at Tennessee State or Hampton or someone who wasn't in the MEAC and SWAC. So it just worked out, right? But one of the first things that you have to decide in saying this debate about who is number 1 is the first question, Drew, do you buy into the Celebration Bowl as the de facto Black College National Championship game? Yes or no?
Do I? No.
Yes.
Do some people say the Celebration Bowl is the Super Bowl, meaning the winner of that game is the de facto champion? There is a good school of debate out there from ESPN and from other people that says that this is the Super Bowl and that the trophy is now presently residing in Orangeburg, South Carolina. And when I vote in human polls, when I am voting in human polls over the next day or so, that is one thing that I have to decide. Does the Celebration Bowl count as the Black College Super Bowl? If so, I have to declare South Carolina State as the national champion. We can go back to what happened earlier this year in basketball. Gonzaga probably had the best season of any team in NCAA basketball, but Baylor beat them in the finals. So if you don't consider the NCAA championship game the game, is Gonzaga your number one or is Baylor your number one?
Here's
That's just
my
something
argument.
That's something you have to think about.
But here's my argument to that. The NCAA tournament takes every team and gives every team an opportunity who wins their conference to be a part of it. Then they have at-large bids. Now, look, if you don't win your conference, okay, but then they have at-large bids based on what they have the RPI. That is not the case for the Celebration Bowl and the quote-unquote Black College National Championship game. There are 3 schools that do not have an opportunity. Tennessee State, North Carolina A&T, and Hampton. They do not have an opportunity to play in this game. And if one of those schools were to have a good year, win their conference, and probably go to the NCAA playoffs, would you not give them an opportunity at the Black College National Champion title? And I'll say this. Nobody's devaluing the Celebration Bowl. I'll let somebody know that. I saw somebody post that there. No one's devaluing the Celebration Bowl. The Celebration Bowl is a postseason bowl game between the MEAC winner and the SWAC winner. Great.
Correct.
It is no different than if who's in the ACC. If Pitt goes to the Duke Mayo Bowl as the ACC champion, and who's the other school? The Wake Forest goes to another bowl. If Pitt wins, or if Wake Forest wins their bowl game and Pitt loses theirs, it doesn't devalue the championship of the ACC. It doesn't devalue the bowl. It is a postseason bowl game, period. It is not the NCAA sanctioned national championship. So stop it. Stop it. There's only there's only 3 NCAA, which everybody plays in, sanctioned championships. That is the FCS, Division II, and Division III. Period.
Can I throw out another factor? And you and I had this conversation earlier today. And
yes, move forward to the next one.
It didn't even occur to me until now. We've got this debate. You have got to win your conference, your division, your whatever to be considered for the national championship or things of that nature. And yes, this is a pro-FAMU argument. Everybody's familiar with the University of Alabama, is correct? How many championships does Alabama have right now? 17, I believe, is the number. How many times did they win the SEC before they were declared national champion? How many times did they win
the SEC?
Or you can flip the question around that way. Either way, because the answer is going to be the opposite of each other. How many times has they made it to the FCS playoffs without winning the SEC championship? I know of 2 times off the top of my head without even doing the research, and still got into it. And I know at least one of those times they were ultimately the national champion. So you do not have to win your conference to get consideration for a national champion. I mean, that if you really want to take it back in the day, University of Miami, where they beat Oklahoma, did not win their conference. There are multiple times throughout history that we can say that a team did not win their conference, division, whatever, and was still declared national champions. So, this was something. This is not saying that the FAMU deserves to get that, but FAMU deserves consideration because you do not have to win the conference. You could have lost to a team that won the conference and still be in the race.
Let's
Go ahead and
take it
start chiming in on YouTube.
Well, let's start taking it to the field, okay? Because we have 3 teams, all have played each other. Florida A&M played South Carolina State, defeated them by 23 points. They lost to Jackson State by 1. Jackson State, of course, beat Florida A&M by 1. Lost to South Carolina State by, what was the final there? 21.
21.
South Carolina State lost by 23 to FAMU, won by 21. So to me, you got 1-1-1. How are you deciding amongst those teams and just those 3 teams? Now,
there were 2 other common opponents.
Well, hold on. I was going to get to that. But the first argument, because since people want to take it to the field, let's take it to the field. Let's take it to the field where they actually played the game. Do you want to talk about margin of victory? No. Let's not talk about that.
Let's talk about it, Brian.
Okay, let's talk about it. You math majors out there, do the math. I gave you the numbers. Here's what it looks like. Florida A&M plus 22. South Carolina State minus 2. Jackson State minus 20. That's your point differential between 3 schools. Ooh. Controversy. From Stan Becton, who writes for the NCAA.com. He's the NCAA digital content. He released the final power rankings for the 2021 season. As Stan writes, these rankings were done weekly throughout the regular season, sorting each HBCU team at the FCS level based on their performance. Nicknamed the Road to Atlanta, the weekly power rankings led up to the annual meeting of HBCU football's 2 best teams at this year's Celebration Bowl held in Atlanta. Guess who the number 1 team on the power rankings were? They would be Florida A&M with a record of 9-3.
That's two in a row for them.
Well, as he writes, the Rattlers finished the season with a loss in the FCS playoffs after winning 8 straight games. FAMU, Florida A&M, played well against the other 2 teams in consideration, Jackson State and South Carolina State. They lost by 1 point at the beginning of the year and blew out South Carolina State by 23, leading 27-0 through 3 quarters. It was a close call, but Florida A&M takes first in the season-ending power rankings, which, after seeing that article, guess what Florida A&M did?
Oh, they put the picture up. You got the picture, Roy?
They claimed their title. They claimed their title, and Coach Willie Simmons, even claimed it as well. In that they claimed their national title. Hashtag Why not us?
Why not?
From the Why not FAMU, right? So yes, that comes. There it is. That's FAMU claiming their share of the 2021 HBCU National Championship. And folks, be mad. Folks gonna be mad. Number 2 in his power rankings, South Carolina State finished the season 7-5. And number 3 was Jackson State, finished 12-2. Although I think that's more, is that right? I think it's more 11-2 probably. Number 4 was Alabama A&M. Number 5 was North Carolina Central. So that was the top 5 power rankings. You can go to NCAA.com and look up that. A lot of folks upset. I know. They're buzzing. They're upset. They're going nuts. But look, Drew, we talked about, if you're not satisfied with that, let's talk about common opponents. because the one interesting thing is all three of the teams had two common opponents, Bethune-Cookman
Which everybody
and
beat.
right, and
Alabama
help
A&M.
me out here, Alabama A&M, right. South Carolina State lost by, I think, a point or
The
two.
same point that fam you lost to Jackson State by the way.
Yeah, good point. They lost by 1. Of course, we remember the beating that Jackson State put on Alabama A&M, and then Florida A&M won. Had to come back to win. Had to come back to win over Alabama A&M. So, if you do win losses, if you took all 5 opponents, all 5 teams, and did a win-loss matrix, you know what it would come up to look like? You would have Jackson State and Florida A&M with 3-1.
Yeah.
You'd have South Carolina State at 2-2.
2-2.
Bethune would be
0-4.
0-4, and Alabama A&M would be 2-2 as well. 2-2 as well. So you have 2 teams at 3-1. Neither team won their last game in the Celebration Bowl.
2
2 teams at 2-2.
Won its last game.
One of them, right? One of them won, and so then you've got so how. You know what's funny, Drew, is
you know what that sounds like. You know what that sound. I was gonna say.
What's
you know
that
what that
sound
sounds like, Brian?
What's that sound like?
Pool play. Sounds like pool play or
What?
round robin.
What? They do
Olympic
that internationally. They do that internationally. Like FIFA does that internationally, right?
Yeah, FIBA.
Yeah, FIBA, yeah.
Yes.
So 3-1 versus 3-1. How do you parse that out, Drew?
They even do it in the World Cup.
Ooh. How do we parse that out, Drew?
I mean, you have to. Well, and this is not to sound AAU-ish, but don't
minimize it to AAU, because that makes it sound like it's not done at a professional level. It's done at a professional level at the highest world stage.
Give AAU its credit, because before the NCAA, there was AAU. AAU was the governing organization of college athletics. And the reason I say AAU is because it's something that people can relate to. When everyone has had their child or either themselves participated in these travel ball type tournaments, be it baseball, basketball, whatever. And when you have teams who are tied in the pool, what are the first 2 tiebreakers that you go to, Brian? Head to head.
Head to head. Yep.
Point differential.
Point differential.
So, and some people do point differential overall. Some people do a point differential. They eliminate, then come back to head to head. So, just a couple things there. So, Brian, and I know you ran the numbers. Of those 5 teams, do you have the point differential of all 5 teams playing each other?
I'll give you the top 2. I did do it all. I don't have it with me, but I have the top 2. 3-1 versus 3-1. Jackson State and Florida A&M.
Okay.
Well, obviously we know how that went. Jackson State won the head-to-head matchup, right?
+1 and got a +1.
Overall, when you look at point differential among the other 4 opponents, Florida A&M's point differential is +51. Jackson State is +56.
Okay, so Jackson State wins in that tiebreak scenario.
Yep. By 5 points. So there you go. You know, what other arguments do we have out there, Drew? How else are people going to distinguish championships? Or who's the champion?
Overall body of work, when you take in the full season, strength of schedule. That's a big one. Strength of schedule, and you could break that down into strength of schedule or the conferences strength, conference rating. One of those two. And just to let you know, we here at the BCSN, we actually do our own strength of schedule matrix. And Brian, I will go. You want me to go top to bottom or bottom to top with the 5 teams?
Well, so we're going to now release the under D1.
Let's just do strength of schedule for these 5 teams before we get into the under D1.
Oh, okay. So you're just doing yeah. You have the numbers there. What's the strength of schedule for these 5 teams? Go ahead.
And this is the Black College Sports Network ranking, which
your strength of schedule. This is strength of schedule.
Yeah, okay. Strength of schedule.
Okay, just so we're not confusing people. Come on.
And this is a factor into the Black College Network ranking, but we'll solve it. The number of the teams, number 5 was Alabama A&M, with 1 being the greatest. Let me factor it in. 1 is the greatest. Alabama A&M with a .210 strength of schedule.
Okay, number 5. Okay, that's the easiest strength of schedule is what you're alluding to among the 5. Okay, go ahead. Number 4.
Number 4, Jackson State, .257.
Okay.
Number 3, Florida A&M, .271.
Wow. Okay.
Number 2, South Carolina State, .285.
Okay. Which means
go ahead.
Bethune-Cookman had the toughest schedule, overall schedule. Overall schedule,
.381.
Right. And the second toughest schedule was South Carolina State.
Correct.
Okay. With Florida A&M 3rd, Jackson State 4th.
Yes.
Total wins and losses, South Carolina State again, 7 wins, 5 losses. Florida A&M, 9 wins, 3 losses.
So
South Carolina
7 wins with a tougher 7 wins with a tougher schedule versus Alabama A&M, 7 wins with the easier schedule.
Yeah.
So just based on that, I'm going to rate South Carolina State. Just use the strength of schedule. I'm going to put South Carolina State ahead of Alabama A&M. Just to start off with, just using that pure number right there. And the next question you have to ask yourself is Jackson State's 11 wins with a .258 strength of schedule better than Florida A&M's 9 wins with a .271 strength of schedule. That's something that you have to debate.
Right. And when I hear those numbers, Drew, if I were considering how I would vote, I would look at it and say there's 2 wins separating the 3 schools.
Yes.
7, 9, 11. If it were 1 win, I would make it would mean more. But the fact that there's 2 wins and 2 losses. 1 loss in Florida A&M's case, 1 loss. And then 2. So, I mean, I would take that into consideration. I really would. And so as close as those strength of schedule numbers are, I don't think they are so far apart that they supersede wins and losses to me.
And just so everybody knows, overall in FCS for the HBCUs, North Carolina Central had the easiest schedule at .199, and Tennessee State had the hardest strength of schedule at a .510. Just so you can have a reference point for your top and your bottom and see where those other teams fit in.
All right.
But Bethune was number 3.
Let's get to it. Let's release the under D1, our final under D1 rankings for the 2021 football season overall. So our final under D1, Bowie State Bulldogs, who finished the season, I believe, 12-2, went to the regional finals, are our Black College National Champions. This is the second time that we have named them such. We named them such in 2019 and named them again in 2021. Albany State finished 2. And I think a big part of that is their first round exit in the playoffs. I think it might have been closer had they actually got into the
second round.
Might have been a little bit closer.
Because correct me if I'm wrong, Albany State was number 1 going into the playoffs.
I think they were number 1 heading into the final week of
would have been the conference championships.
Yeah, I think they might have been number 1 heading to the conference championships. I know for a while Albany State was number 1. Okay. So yeah, but we both knew that whoever advanced the furthest would probably be the team that would end up. You just kind of had that feeling based on the numbers. And I know Dr. Cavill's show had already proclaimed Bowie State their mid-major, is what they call it on that side, mid-major. Savannah State finished 3, very close over Fayetteville State, who finished 4th, and then Langston University finished 5th. So, yeah, there's that. So, all right, let's. I do want to bring up the attendance real quick before we go into mentioning the. Well, I guess I think we're gonna have to stay with this graphic for a minute until our producer come. Okay, there we go. Let's go to the attendance, because something I want to bring up here before we release the D1 winner is the attendance. Attendance was very interesting. The Celebration Bowl was one of 7 bowls that took place on Saturday. And here are some of the numbers of some of those other bowls. There were 6 other bowls outside of the Celebration Bowl. The Independence Bowl, which featured BYU and UAB, drew 26,276. And I think I've got a graphic here. So if we've got that graphic here. The New Orleans Bowl, featuring Louisiana and Marshall, drew 21,642. The Jimmy Kimmel LA Bowl drew 29,896.
How does Jimmy Kimmel get a bowl?
Because he's Jimmy Kimmel. I don't know. Shit.
He a comedian. He got a bowl.
That featured Utah State and Oregon State. Boca Raton Bowl, 15,429. That was Western Kentucky and App State. New Mexico State featured Fresno State versus UTEP, 16,442. The Lending Tree Bowl, featuring Liberty and Eastern Michigan, drew 15,187. Think about that. Look at those numbers. And then, of course, the good old Celebration Bowl between 2 FCS schools, 48,653. Give yourselves a round of applause, SWAC Nation, MEAC Nation, HBCU Football Nation. You just outdrew, and you also outdrew the first 2 bowls of the season, which were on Friday, the Bahamas Bowl, which drew 13,596, and the Cure Bowl, which drew 9,784. So the power of the HBCU brand is high, very high. And so when people kind of start hinting at bigger and better days, man, I tell you, who doesn't want to be a part of this thing? You know,
let's see what the ratings are on Monday when they come out.
I agree.
They should be out Monday or Tuesday at the latest, over the TV ratings, and see whether these ratings are in relation to the attendance, and is the Celebration Bowl the number one rated bowl also. And it'd be interesting to see those attendance numbers compared to the TV ratings of those numbers. And I think Celebration Bowl is still going to be the ratings leader also, coming out.
I hope so. I hope so. Among those 7 bowls, it was on ABC. A couple of those other bowls were on ABC as well. So I'm hopeful I think it'll go a long way for those schools. Yeah, so congratulations to everybody. Let's take a break, come back, and we'll finally stop teasing you guys and show you who the number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 teams are in our BCSN Division 1 National Championship poll. We'll be back right after these words.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
Supermarket sushi, really?
No. Wait, Troy, you work here?
I'm never not working. Like Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology, up to 100% dandruff protection, even between washes.
Never not working, huh?
Oh, Troy, you're such a good teacher.
Yeah, I know. Never not working. Never not working. Never ever not working.
Are you serious?
Never not working. Dandruff protection that's never not working. Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology.
Thank you guys for what you do for HBCU athletics. This is a fantastic avenue for all of us. This is our ESPN, so we love what you guys do. Bryan, AD, Roy, all you guys at BCSN. We really appreciate what it is that you guys do for us.
I'm attorney Clinton Paris, and Tampa's my community. I grew up here, went to school here, and my wife and I make our home here. What makes Tampa special are its people. So when I represent someone injured in my community, it's personal. Call my office and speak to a real lawyer and not some referral service. I will fight the insurance companies to get the settlement that you deserve. At the law office of Clinton Paris, we take the pain out of being hurt.
All right, welcome back to the BCSN SportsWrap. Brian Fulford, AD Drew here. I'm like, the anticipation is killing me. I know it's killing you guys too. I know some of you guys are anxiously awaiting the results.
And before we go, I do got one YouTube comment I want to say something on. And this goes out to CBW. It's called sponsorship. You go back and read the comment.
Okay. All right. So I'll let you hang that one out directly to him. All right, again. So the under D1 poll that we've just released, Bowie State, the 2021 BCSN National Champion. These rankings are, again, based on statistical information and data. No poll. No humans are involved, really, except in punching numbers. But even that's done by the computers. So
you want me to get the formula, Brian?
Give people the formula. Just as we get ready to do this, let's give the formula.
All right.
Don't give too much away. Basic, general.
The basic formula.
Don't give the sauce.
Calculates points for wins and points for conference wins. Takes points away for losses. Adds in strength of schedule. And gives also points for road wins and neutral site wins. That's the basic formula, Brian. And it's punched into a computer. Values are assigned, and that's how you see those numbers that come out, as you saw in the previous poll, with Bowie State gaining 1,467 points.
Yep. And so the last time we did a poll was 2019. We didn't do one last year. 2019, Florida A&M was the winner of the Division I poll in 2019. Bowie State was the under D1. Bowie State repeated. Will there be a repeat for Florida A&M? We've seen South Carolina State be claimed the Celebration Bowl Black College Champion by ABC. We've seen the article from Stan Becton and the NCAA.com claim Florida A&M the top in their power rankings. So let's find out who is our number one team. Drum roll, please. Our top team in the BCSN.
Let's build it up. Start at number 5.
I don't think it's set up that way, is it?
No, but we can start at number 5. We just don't have to put the graphic up till we get to number 2. After we reveal number 2.
Oh, man. Okay. So, all right, here we go. Let me make sure I'm seeing it right then. Okay, so our number 5 team with a record of 7-4, the Prairie View A&M Panthers. Our number 4 team with a record of 7-5, the South Carolina State Bulldogs.
Prairie View with 730 points. South Carolina State with 755 points.
The number 3 team with a record of 7-3, the Alabama A&M Bulldogs.
761 points.
That leaves 2 teams left.
That's Jackson State and Florida A&M University.
Our number 2 team with a record of 9-3, Florida A&M University, which means our number 1 team, the BCSN Division I rankings, the SWAC champions, the winners of the SWAC East, the Jackson State Tigers, with a final record of 11-2. By far and away, the winners of the best conference, had the best season. And yes, they lost in the Celebration Bowl.
They lost their last game.
They did. Lost their last game. Also happened to the team that won in 2019. But if you do the numbers, do the math, Jackson State comes away clearly on top. See, Jamie Walker says he's shocked. You couldn't have been that shocked, Jamie, could you?
But if you take the overall body of work of Jackson State, with all games being equal, game 1 versus Florida A&M and game 13 versus South Carolina State, Jackson State had the best body of work. No ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Yep. And you know what's interesting, again, how one game affects everything. One game and 1 point. I mean, let's keep it real. Think about one game and 1 point. Florida A&M wins that game against Jackson State. I mean, Florida A&M, if you think about everything else being considered as the way the rest of the season goes, if it's equal for both teams, FAMU is playing in the Celebration Bowl. Jackson State is going to the playoffs. Who knows what happens in the Celebration Bowl. But,
you had a rematch of Florida A&M versus South Carolina State. We did, at least we would have seen that matchup on the field.
And I'm not one of those people that think that the score would have been the same. I mean, look, as much as I don't think a second time you would have had South Carolina State getting beat by nearly 30. I don't think that would have happened because the history of Florida A&M and South Carolina State has been very tight. I mean, up until recently, South Carolina State has really dominated the series.
Brian,
you're going to have to look. Go ahead. You were going to say.
I was going to say, you talk about 1 point, Brian. Let's also remember, South Carolina State lost to Alabama and A&M by 1 point in that same week. also. So let's think how that would have flipped some things throughout the
Yeah.
season. South Carolina State number one would have finished ahead of Alabama A&M in our poll, and it's just ironic that the two teams that are locked into each other, the team with the head-to-head victory, actually finished ahead of them in our ranking. It's not set up that way. Head-to-head does not matter as far as a direct influence on the ranking, but it's just happened to come out that way, that they head-to-head mattered in this ranking. Maybe we do what we was doing when we helped create this formula, Brian. So I
I love
leave
how
it at
people
that.
look. I love how people say, I don't know, maybe they're referring to somebody's comments being biased as hell, or maybe they're referring to, I mean, the computer rankings being biased as hell. I mean, okay, I don't know. I don't know how you can throw in as many different scenarios and factors as you want. I mean, you got one team with 7 wins, one team with 11, one team with 9. I mean, how do you even get close to bringing a team that was 7-5 up to the same level as somebody who was 11 and, and again, I get the on the field argument. I truly do. But
overall body of work, though.
Again, you got you got the look at the top 4 teams all played each other. Do the math. How did all 4 of the top 4 teams played each other?
Yes.
I mean, what? I mean, say what you want. Jackson State was 2-1 against the top 4 teams. Florida A&M was 2-1, and then head to head, Jackson State beat Florida A&M. I mean, if you just went old school like that and said, "Oh, computers, what are computers?" If you went that, if you're that guy, okay, I get it. But
okay,
again,
now I'm gonna stick with your argument. Just on that, Brian. Then we have to explain how Alabama A&M, who went 1-2 against these two teams, South Carolina State also 1-2 against these two teams. So,
right?
Yeah, your argument works out, and Alabama A&M beat South Carolina State head to head.
And you know what's funny, Drew? It does not always work out so cleanly. I feel like I can really sleep easy at night because it works out the way look. I'm a Florida A&M graduate. I host a show dedicated to Florida. And trust me, you don't think I wanted to look up at our numbers and see Florida A&M as number one? Do you not think I'm excited about seeing the NCAA article by Stan Becton that says Florida A&M is number one in the power rankings? I'm excited, just like every other Rattler is in Florida A&M, Rattler Nation. But there's a reason I can step out of that. I can put those hats away that are over my shoulder. I can put them away and look at it objective and allow the numbers to do what the numbers say. And the numbers are what they are. And congratulations to Coach Prime, Coach Sanders, the Jackson State football program. And but again, everybody, look, remember, this debate is what makes college football great. 3 teams will claim a national championship this year. I know it will be true. Minimum, right? It's funny you say minimum because there are some polls that incorporate the under D1. There are some polls that may have Bowie State in their poll, and you know what? They may make Bowie State the overall national champion. I would not be surprised if I saw a poll that incorporated all teams have Bowie State as their number one overall team, man. I will not be surprised at all.
And Bowie State lost their last game, though, Brian.
Oh, well, there you go. I mean, here goes that argument.
And I'm looking at some of the comments that we're getting on YouTube and at Facebook. Jamie, of course, Jamie had to say, "Go ahead and just say FAMU." Nah, Jamie, we threw that curveball to you. Let's see.
Aggies, boy, I tell you what, don't get Aggies started in this conversation. You know, they still a little sore about 2019.
Man, I was walking out with Jamie at the Celebration Bowl. He made me stop and take a picture of him and a couple of Aggies. So you know how I felt about that. Let's see. I'm just messing with you, Jamie. EA says yes. Oh wow. Oh, Jamie, you already said it. Oh wow, called me shocked. EA, what? Man, them boys, man. I am a Jackson State alum. South Carolina State deserves to be named national champions. And I am Jackson State through and through. EA, three ways, the only way I can see it. G Boom. I was thinking they would do that overall the teams. They only had 2 losses, and one was FBS, the other was FCS. G Boom, Fab, you could have lost to PV. Didn't happen, G Boom. We don't know what would have happened in the battle of the A&Ms right there. South Carolina State stood up, surprised the hell out of JSU. That was Impact 7. And biased as hell. Still want to know how the computer's biased. I agree with you on that one, Brian. Jeremy Anderson. Jackson State have the best body of work. We've claimed the Celebration Bowl to be the championship when it's really just a postseason award. JSU earned this. JB Walker, I agree. We need a better way to decide one champion on the field. Maybe we ought to go to our own FCS playoff tournament. You know, for 4 teams, 2 weeks. You know, it would be interesting to see.
Why would look? Everyone wants a perfect system, but let's think about this for a second. Play this scenario out, okay? How would folks feel if, let's just say, I hate to do this, but I just want you to think about this. If theoretically, if Jackson State had won the Celebration Bowl, and let's say had Florida A&M, for example, gone to the championship game of the FCS or even the semifinals of the SCF playoffs, what would your Black College National Champion look like? I mean, would you still base it on head-to-head? Would you still base it off computer metrics, or would you say that winning the Celebration Bowl is bigger, more important than going to the semifinals or the national championship game? So in the end, I guess that's why I look at, obviously you have polls, people's opinions, and you have rankings. And I think that's okay. That's okay for debate, because until you ever get to a point where you get everybody in FCS football under one umbrella, who knows? Maybe that could happen. Until that day comes, right now, we've got this beautiful, imperfect system which allows us to recognize 3 different teams for having a great season. Well, yes, probably 4. Let's say 4 teams for having a great season. You know what I'm saying? You got 4 teams that had a great season.
And Brian, we go back to 2016. On the smaller school level, the under D1 as we call it, both Tuskegee and Winston-Salem were declared national champions. On the FCS level, the last time that we had the split national champions, well, of course, we had 2019 with Florida A&M, North Carolina A&T. You had Tennessee State and Bethune named by multiple people as national champions in 2013. And you think that was bad, Brian? 2012, you had UAPB, Bethune-Cookman, and Tennessee State all claimed a share of the national championship on the FCS level, with Winston-Salem pretty much ironically, being the consensus number one team. Winston-Salem was named national champion by more organizations than the other three teams combined. So there is precedent for this, and I think we're going to see something similar to that this year, where Bowie will get a lot of the consensus national championships, but someone's already named Florida A&M. You've got South Carolina State with the Celebration Bowl and being named national champion, and we here at BCSN have named Jackson State along with Bowie State. So there will be multiple teams when you go through and look at 2021. And coming out of COVID, hey, why not? You get the national championship, and you get a national championship, and you also get a national championship. In my Oprah voice, that is.
Well said. All right. If we want to encourage you to stick around on the platform, because BJ Jones is coming up. Inside HBCU football will be coming up at the top of the hour, and I'm sure he will have plenty of breakdown of the game. I'm sure he will have some comments and thoughts about the results of the BCSN poll rankings. Again, Jackson State. Congratulations to the Jackson State Tigers. And again, more polls and rankings will be coming out in the next 24 hours, and so we'll see. We'll see amongst all of it. We'll see, but right now you've got.
There's only one other poll out there that matters, Brian.
Oh, who's that?
That is Dr. Gavill Tuesday night. and
okay.
Shout out to Dr. Gavill, who's been chiming in on Facebook with us. He appreciates the breakdown. But that's the only other poll I'm really going to be looking at to see who Dr. Gavill names. Well, let me rephrase that. We've got two other polls that I'm going to be looking at. HBCU Pro Sports Media Association's poll. And that should be coming out Tuesday morning. And then Tuesday night, Dr. Gavill's poll. After that, the rest of them, you take them for what they are. But those are the only two that matter to me.
Well, hey, look, I mean, it's all good, but I think anybody who's out in this space, putting in the time and work and covering these teams, if you've got a platform and a system, I think you owe it to yourself, owe it to your viewers to create that. And the more the merrier. Let's go. As you said, Drew, you get a title, and you get a title. You get a title, and everybody gets a title. And maybe one day somebody will finish the job and be able to truly say they are the champions, unblemished. Jamie, your Aggies did that a couple times. So I guess, you guys, Aggie pride, you might have the last time that it was an undisputed title was North Carolina A&T State. So
yes, North Carolina A&T, and then probably Grambling before that.
Right.
So it's 16.
Sometimes it's clean, sometimes it's messy, and this is let's enjoy this mess and debate it, talk about it. Great discussion by everybody in the chat rooms on Facebook and YouTube. Thank you for being a part of the discussion. Make sure you're following us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at MyBCSN1. Go download the Jericho Broadcast Network's app, MyJBN, MyBCSN, and that's going to do it. For AD Drew, I'm Brian Fulford. You guys make sure to enjoy BJ Jones and Inside HBCU Football coming up next on the platform. We are out.
Well, holla.
But